Alright, so what I'm going to have to do here, as you can see, that the front of this is not sitting straight. It's bent here, so this frame underneath of this front nose cone is bent. So we're going to have to take that off, take the whole front nose cone apart, take this inner piece off, take the gauges out, take the whole side pieces off to get to that nose cone, to get to that frame. So we're going to start by taking the whole side panels off. I'm going to just do that off of the video because there's plenty of videos out there on how to remove all of that, and then we'll get to the nose cone piece here in a minute. Now that I got the side panels off, I'm going to take off these screws around the dash here and see if we can get that out of the way to get to the clocks and go from there. And first thing I'm going to do before I do that is take the negative off the battery, so the battery will be disconnected. Alright, got all the screws out now. Down here in this bottom corner, down here in this bottom corner, it had a long screw in there. That screw was missing on the other side. I think somebody had already started taking this apart at one time and then stopped. So everything seems to be loose. It seems to be hung up a little bit here in the middle, so I'm going to try to see if I can pop this out a little bit with the little plastic interior piece that you remove car interior with. So I'm going to try to pop that out, see if I can get that out without breaking anything. Okay, after looking a little closer at this, what I didn't realize are there's two screws right here. So I'm going to remove the windshield next so I can get to these two screws here to remove that plastic piece. So don't go prying on that plastic piece too much without removing those two screws. Okay, got the windshield off. Just these four screws here on each side. Took the two screws out of the top of the nose cone, and when it did, it released this panel down. Had to unplug the fuel gauge here and then the other accessory switches over here on this side. So now we're ready to pull this dash out. It looks like just 4 screws, and this the instrument cluster should come out, and I'm sure there'll be a connector back behind it. Be careful in this connector here. This connector was very difficult to get out and didn't want to damage it. It looks like this whole spot here where the gas gauge and everything, the fuel gauge and things are, it looked like somebody had done some repair work to that before, like fiberglass around it a little bit. It could have been from this accident, I'm not sure. You know, just be careful with this switch. I've heard those clusters are very, very expensive, if you can even still get them. So I'm gonna remove this next and be right back. Okay, I took the 4 bolts out that holds the clock and the speedometer and tachometer and the other accessory lights. It's kind of hard to get back there to the plug, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to see if I can take some of these other bolts out. There's a screw down here that holds this front piece on. I'm going to see if I can break some of this loose and see if I can just leave this plugged in for now and see if I can work my way, you know, get some of this other stuff out of the way, and then maybe I can get to the frame with leaving that plugged in, or either maybe I can just move some things around to get easier access to the plug in the back, and so I can actually see it. Right now I can't see it. You can see it's in here kind of tight, and something is still attached that I can't really feel or see, so I'm gonna have to find out where that is and see if I can get that out of the way. Alright, I don't know if you can tell in this picture, but I was able to get the nose cone off. Here's the nose cone upside down, but these bolts, there's 4 bolts here that go around the housing of the headlight, and one of mine was broken, but you have to try to fish a long socket in there and get those out. Somebody's clipped my antenna off also, so didn't remove that, just left it on. But you have to get down and get those bolts out. I could have probably just taken the 4 bolts out here that hold the headlight on, but I couldn't see this one very well, and it is loose, like somebody had taken it partially off before. So that's what you have to do to get this nose cone off. There's, like I said, some hidden bolts down in there. You just really have to hunt for them, and you know, get those off. Get the ones off up here. I don't know if that's in the line of view. Up here on the windshield, there's 2 up here. There's 4, 2 on each side here on the frame, and then the ones around the headlight. And you can get this piece off. It's not the easiest piece to get off, and it's going to be real fun to get back on. But that's what has to be done here to get to this. So now I'm going to take a look at my frame, where it was bent. I think it's bent right in here, I believe is what it looks like. This is supposed to have a little bit of a bow in it. But this one is definitely just bent too far in on this side. So I have the other frame piece, so now I'm just going to have to figure out how to get everything off of this frame and onto the other frame. And yeah, looks like a lot of fun. So stick with me, we'll see what we can do. Alright, so I think I'm kind of coming up with a game plan here of what I'm going to do. See all these wiring and all of this mess that's going to have to come out to get that frame out. So here's the frame that's running in here, runs underneath here, underneath the windscreen motor and everything, and the relays and all these switches. So I think what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take the tank off and see if there is a disconnect somewhere for all these wires and everything, so I can just take the frame off with as many of these wires and everything still connected, so then that way I can have the new frame sitting next to the old frame and just hopefully piece everything over and get it in the right place, because there's quite a bit of wires here and stuff, and I don't want to miss something simple and not have have some kind of problem and then have to take the whole thing apart. Alright, I took the fuel tank back off. So now, once I have everything off here and kind of looking at it, I don't know if the camera's really picking it up, but you can see how this part of the frame is bent back, and everything from like the center this direction is just tweaked, kind of crunched in a little bit. So I guess when this bike went down, it took most of the blow right there at that front end piece. So I think the game plan I'm going to do, which is to just start clipping wire ties, and I'm kind of making this video also as a reference to where everything goes back in, because there's a bunch of wires here and connectors, and I don't know if I'm going to just try to disconnect anything or just see if I can cut the wire ties down, kind of lay everything to the left that stays on the left side of this frame, everything that goes to the right, clip it and put it to the right. I think if I can just get all the wires cut off of this thing and take the oil cooler off, I can get this frame piece out and hopefully kind of put everything back on where it goes once I get the new frame piece in. So the frame doesn't look too difficult to come off. It just has the bolt down here at the bottom, the bolt in the center that goes to the middle part of the frame that I had already replaced. So I think I can take that bolt out there, the 2 bolts down here, one on each side, get the oil cooler off, and I think this frame piece will come out. I don't know if there's anything else that's attached to. I'll have to find that out as I go, and then I just have to switch everything over from the windshield motor and the hinges and everything that go into the windshield. I'll have to switch that all over onto the other frame, and the vents here, and then just try to get all the wires connected back up in their holders back on the new frame. So yeah, this is gonna be fun. But yeah, it's coming along slowly. It's yeah, you can see where it connects down here on this side. So yeah, we'll give it a shot, see what we can get. Can't get any worse than it already is. Take the windshield assembly off with the motor, and at least I can get that off pretty easy, and attach it to the new frame, so I have all that where I know where it goes. I'm not going to lose any bolts or anything like that, and just try to do this piece by piece. That's going to be the first piece to come off. Got all the screws out except one holding it on, and it looks like it should just lift right off. I've got it disconnected from the plug down here, so we'll get that off and on the new frame first. Alright, I think I got all the wiring out of the way. Here's all the wiring harness hanging out over here. I found some interesting wire connectors that a previous owner must have done on the turn signals, but I'll fix that when we go to put it back together. They use some wire nuts and other things to ground out the turn signals, but that's okay. Or I should say for the ground for the turn signals, but we'll fix all that. So I think I got everything off, and I can definitely, now that everything's off and out of the way, you can definitely see how this bar is bent in, and this top piece up here is bent down. And you can kind of, if you look straight on, I don't know if you can tell in the video, but this whole frame piece right here is pushed over to the left side of the bike. So to be honest, you could probably tweak on this and fix it and get it straight again, but I have the other piece, so I'm not even going to do that, because knowing my luck, I would try to tweak on this and then break that tab again, and that's what I do not want to do. So I'm just going to go ahead and take the oil cooler loose. I'm just going to let it come down onto the fender and then try to get the frame bolts out and get that frame out of there, get the new frame in, and start putting things back together. So hopefully it will be relatively easy to do. I don't see why it shouldn't come out the way I'm thinking it will. I tell you what though, BMW, they must own stock in a wire tie company, because there was more wire ties on this bike than I've ever seen before in my life holding all this stuff on. So got a ton of wire ties and I'll put it back together the best I can. Okay, I don't know if you can see anything in this jumbled mess, but I got all the bolts broken loose. So here it comes out. But I got one wire here wrapped around, so we gotta find the connector on that one. Forgot to unplug that one. So that was down here. And I tell you, the Germans and their connectors, geez. Every one is different. How it unplugs. And yeah, this wire. So this wire wraps around this piece, so I'm going to have to see if I can pop the pins out of this wire, because I don't want to cut it, or see where it connects over here. I think it's the, I'm not sure, it might be the heated grip wires. So it wraps, it goes right between this, so I'm going to have to see how I can pop the pins out of one side of this to get it around this frame. So that's the only thing left holding it in. So I'm just going to steady it there and find something to knock those pins. Alright, I messed around with the connector a little bit, couldn't get the pins out, so I did the right thing and just cut the wire. I'll solder that back on once I get all this stuff done, but I didn't have time to sit here and jack with those little wires. I didn't really have a screwdriver that was small enough to get in there and try to pop those pins back, so we're just going to cut it and we'll solder it back on. Okay, I got the frame out, and what I'm thinking is I have to do fork seals on this bike. So I'm thinking, well, I have everything out of the way, I may go ahead and jack this thing up and do the fork seals since they're right here and easy to get to. I really hate having another thing torn apart in this garage because, like I said, it's a small garage and I've got body panels and things everywhere. So we might go ahead and do the fork seals while this is off. It'd be a little bit easier. Alright, so I got all the wiring in and got the headlight in and mounted up with the 3 mounting bolts. Don't forget the little brass little pieces that go in the back of the headlight. So it's not as pretty as it was from BMW, and probably about 100 less wire ties so far. So just getting it all worked in here, and we'll get everything strapped down and wire tied in. But so far, you know, got the oil cooler in and got the headlight in, and of course the windscreen motor and assembly. So we're gonna keep going from there and try to get this thing back together today. Alright, so now I'm hooking the vent up. I think it's pretty cool how these vents work on this bike. It has a little flap here you can reach down and flip, and it diverts the air away from you, or you can flip it forward and it will bring the air up and kind of feed some air to you, which is kind of nice, because I know on my K75, when it's real hot, I like to ride that bike because there's no big windscreen on it, so you get all the air coming at you. And I know with this bike, with all the flaring and the windscreen, you won't get much air on it. So it's kind of nice to have this vent that you can flip, and it kind of will feed some air into you. So I'm interested to see how that works, and see if you actually can feel it or not. So we'll see, but I'm going to go ahead and put those back on next. Okay, I think I've got everything wired up. I've got both vents in. I'm going to go ahead and put the dash in next, and I'm not going to put the speakers back in because I could care less about the speakers. I've got a comm unit. If I want to listen to music, I'll just listen to music through the comm unit. I'm not going to have speakers in here for no reason. So put the dash in next. Okay, have the gauges in. Now I'm going to install the nose cone, and I think the dash will, the actual bezel around the dash with the fuel gauge and everything will go on last. So we're going to put the nose cone on now. Okay, so I made a mistake. I put the headlight on first. Shouldn't have done that. Now I can't get the nose piece past the headlight. I don't know if you can see that here. It's hitting on the headlight, or it's hitting on the windscreen brackets up at the top. So you can't put the headlight on with it this way. So I'm going to take it back out, see if I can put the headlight assembly together in the front nose cone, and then slide it on. It's probably how I should have done it, and then attach the headlight inside. Not a big deal, it's 3 bolts, just kind of a pain to get to. So just a tip if you're doing this, put the headlight probably in the nose cone first. So we'll try that and then see if that works. Okay, that went on much easier. So put the headlight in. I left the mounting screws that hold the headlight to the front nose cone, I left them a little loose. I'm going to go back in and tighten those now that I've got it in. I think I can sneak a ratchet in there to tighten those down. I'm going to tighten the headlight bolts down now, the 3 that hold the whole housing in. So I think we're getting closer here. It seems to be going back in a little easier than how it came off. Alright, got the dash all back on. And now we'll put the rest of the plastics on, put the windshield on. But I think you get the gist of this, and I think we've pretty much covered everything that I can cover on this. So I'm probably going to end this video here. There's plenty of videos on putting the plastic on, and I didn't really do this as a how-to, just kind of showed you how to do it, I guess, and where some of the difficulties may lie. But hope you like this. Please like, subscribe, follow, and I'll try to have more videos on this bike as they come. Thanks. Okay, just a little recap on this to finish off. Sorry if the background noise, have a fan going because I had the bike running to blow the exhaust fumes out. Where I'm at right now, I've got new tires on it. I just put those tires on yesterday. Got the new front frame put on. Took it out for a little test drive, have the carburetor synced. Now throttle body synced. Now it's time to put the side panels back on, put everything back on, and maybe throw a tag on it and take it for a test ride if the weather permits. It's a little rainy this morning, but maybe it will burn off. So I think I'm happy with the bike so far. I've done all the maintenance on it, and so yeah, now it's time to put it all back together and then take it out for a test drive and see how she does. So I'll be back once I have the panels on. Alright, got all the panels back on. Got the rear bag on. I'm going to try to find some paint that will hopefully match pretty close to this and paint this rear saddle bag and this side mirror. But I think this is going to be it for now on this bike. Maybe I'll do a review on it later once I get it up and on the road, get tags and all that stuff. So might try to see if I can get that done here in the next couple days. But hope you like these videos. Please like, subscribe, and I appreciate it. Thank you. Alright, got the bike out in the sunlight. Took it for its first ride. And man, that thing rode nice. I tell you what, I was very impressed at how well this bike rode. It may be ugly and has scars, but man, she rode nice. I took it out for about 25 miles. Just wanted to take it out on a quick little drive, and like I said, it rode really well. I was very impressed. You know, got a K75 and a 1150 GS, and this is just a different ride altogether. It's a great ride, super smooth, and I was very impressed by it. So I'm very happy with it so far. Little things I'll have to get used to on it. It's different than the other bikes, but we'll do a complete review of this bike later on. But just wanted to do a little follow-up video on it. Rides really nice, and man, if you get a chance to buy one of these, if you're thinking about getting into motorcycling, or if you just want a sport touring bike, don't hesitate to buy one of these, even with high miles. This one has 85,000 miles on it and just rode like it was new. So it's a great riding bike. I can't wait to do a long distance trip on it and enjoy it, and maybe do some commuting with it, because it's already ugly. So if it tips over or gets scuffed up, it's not a big deal. But it is a great riding bike. Okay, I thought I'd shoot one last video of this bike. I thought my last one was going to be it, but I went ahead and picked up this paint from I don't know if it'll pick it up on here, from my local Advance Auto. My local one makes this paint where you can bring in a piece of the bike or car, whatever you're painting. They can scan it, get the right paint code for you, and a lot of automotive stores can do the same, and they'll put it in an aerosol can. So I got a can and sprayed the mirror and the saddlebag. Actually, I did both mirrors because the other mirror somebody else had done, and they match up pretty well. I think it looks 100 times better, and I think I might do it again next time I have these panels off and redo this panel so it all matches. But so one can was enough to do both mirrors and the bag, and still some left. It hardens up after 8 hours and you can't use it again. But just a little review on this paint. Worked great. The match was very close, and he gave me a little about 1 ounce of touch-up paint as well. So looks a lot better, and so I think maybe this video is done now.